Hello everybody, I'm Sydney. I'm a third year vet student at the University of Missouri, and I've already posted my favorite and least favorite courses from first year and recorded my 5 favorite from second year. So now I'm recording my 5 least favorite from second year. So the first class that I've got is radiology. The instructor who taught this, he was just like really old and stuck in his ways, and he had a resident who taught the lab portion, and then he had another instructor who helped him teach the course. And his resident and the other instructor would constantly say that the terms that he was teaching us were old and outdated, and that basically nobody uses those terms, yet he continued to like teach us those terms. So one, I felt like there was a lot of disconnect and like lack of communication between the professors, because he was writing the exams and he was teaching us these old outdated terms, but then in lab or different parts of the course, we had the resident or other instructor using different terms. So it was really hard because you had to learn a bunch of different synonymous terms. And I also kind of didn't think it was beneficial to our education to have him teaching us outdated terms when both the resident and the other instructor were saying nobody's going to really ever use these terms because of how outdated they are. So I definitely think it was already a hard enough class on its own, and then you add lack of communication and outdated terms and things being taught to us. It was just not a good class if you ask me, so it has made its way into the 5 least favorite courses from second year. The next class that I have on this list is Genomics. For me personally, it was just so boring. I didn't necessarily find it difficult, it was just boring. The genetics class that I took in undergrad was essentially the exact same as this genomics class that I took. So it made studying for it super easy. It just made wanting to study for it super hard, because I was like, I already learned all this. I found it super boring to begin with, and now you're making me learn it again. So it's solely on this list just because I found it boring. The third class that I have is Anesthesiology. So I think the reason this one has made its way onto the list is because I had super high expectations for it. Like, I assumed that we were going to be learning all the things that we would use to like medicate and induce animals with, and then the process for how to do so. And we kind of did, but not to the degree that I was wanting. I and some of my friends as well have all agreed that we don't really feel like we came into this class and learned more than what we started with. So yeah, we kind of know the drugs and like how they work a little bit, but I don't feel like we did a very good job of being taught how to use the drugs, when to use them, what their like effects are really. I don't know. I just think that with anesthesiology, you should be taught the protocols and procedures for how to pre-med and induce and anesthetize animals, and I just don't feel like that was done very well in this course. Next on the list is Pharmacology I and II. So I really liked this course for what it was, pharmacology. I went back to work on a break after taking pharm, and I found myself knowing a lot more about the drugs, like when you would use them, how you would use them, things like that. But it's just so hard, so hard, because a lot of the first of all, there's just so many drugs to learn. And then you're learning it so quickly, like it's just being thrown at you so much, so fast. And you're just like, I don't know, I don't want to do this anymore. I hate drugs. And then, on top of that, you're not just learning like the drug, you're learning it for at least 4 species: dogs, cats, horses, cattle. So you're learning all the drugs and their effects on all these different species, and when you can give them to what species, when you can't give them to what species, side effects, all this stuff. And it's not just for like one species or even just the drug. It's a lot of different species. And we also had to learn it in some human stuff too, because people like to come in all the time and be like, oh, well, I'm on that too, but it has this effect in me, or I have that, can I give my dog it because it has this effect in me? And a lot of the times the answer is yes, that some things do cross over, but there's also times when the answer is no. And so you have to be able to explain to people that it doesn't always work that way. So we were learning human stuff too. And the last class that I have on the list is Epidemiology. Again, this was just one of those classes where I was like, it's boring. It's a whole lot of statistics. And for me personally, I didn't really see it benefiting me much in my future career. I think if you wanted to be like a public health veterinarian or work for the USDA, anything like that, it would probably benefit you a lot and you would probably have an interest in it. But for me personally, wanting to just do general mixed practice medicine, I didn't really see it benefiting me too much because you're learning like the statistics of animal diseases and the statistics of them spreading, things like that. For me, it just wasn't something I was super interested in, so I found it really boring and therefore didn't enjoy the class very much. So I think that is my 5 least favorite classes of second year. That means we're almost all caught up, and I have only 8 weeks left of didactic courses, so 8 weeks left of actual classroom time before I start clinicals, which means that I will be uploading probably the same, my favorite and least favorite for third year soon, right before I start like vlogging all of my clinical rotations and stuff like that. So stay tuned for all of that. I'm super excited. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.